Hi there, and welcome back to the I Do Me podcast. Let's say the word out loud straight away so that we can all relax. Anal. Now, for something that so many people are curious about, we whisper about it or we just avoid the topic completely. This is something that splits the room completely in half. You either love it, you hate it, or you're curious about it. There is no middle ground when it comes to butt stuff. So today we're going to explore it properly without weirdness, no pressure, no assumptions, just what it is, why some people do love it, and how you can approach it in a way that actually feels good and isn't intimidating. Let's explore. So, the first thing to get clear is that this episode is not about convincing you to try anal play. It's about making sure that if you do want to explore it or you want to get more out of it, that you're doing it in a way that's safe, comfortable, and actually pleasurable. Now, it's completely normal, beyond normal, to be curious about anal. It's also completely normal to try it and decide it's not for you at all. Although, in my experience, people with that attitude, it's usually due to a bad experience in the past, but we'll get into that later. And just to remove the expectations or the performance aspect from it straight away, like we like to do with everything, you don't have to like it. If you try it and it's genuinely not for you, that's totally fine. Not everybody likes every type of experience. But for the people that do love it, why do they love it? Well, it's not random. There's actual anatomical reasons why anal can feel so good. The first one being nerve endings. The anus is actually packed full. I don't know why, it just is, but it makes the entire area very sensitive. But it's a different kind of sensitive. So, anal stimulation is a little bit different in that it's usually based on pressure. Anal stimulation, yes, you've got the nerve endings there. That feeling of fullness creates pressure in the general area, and of course, that's where all the other good stuff is. If you're somebody with a prostate, anal stimulation is the most direct path to the prostate. So it can create very intense sensations. And for those without a prostate, it can enhance overall arousal when you combine it with other types of stimulation. And for the women, depending on the type of anal toy that you use, if you do go down the toy route, it actually pushes your G-spot closer to the vaginal wall, meaning it's easier to stimulate through vaginal stimulation. But we're going to get into specific products later. But rule number one when it comes to anal play of any type is relaxation. Compulsory. The anus is a type of muscle known as a sphincter, and sphincter muscles tighten when under stress. So this type of play is not something that you can physically rush. You cannot dive in, don't pardon the pun. You have to ease into it or it's just not going to happen. I always used to tell people who would come into the sex shop, anal sex, I mean any sex, but anal sex in particular, it starts in the head. If you're stressed about it, you're worried about it, you're not feeling safe and comfortable in the moment, your body will physically resist it and you are not going to have a good time. So that relaxation means going slow, again, not optional, and also focusing on your breath. I know I've said it before, but being mindful and conscious of your breathing, slowly in through the nose, slowly out through the mouth, it matters. It is actually going to make a difference. So relaxation, not optional. If you take nothing else away from this episode, it should be that relaxation is the only thing that's going to lead to a good experience when it comes to anal. Full stop. End of story. Now, in addition to relaxation, there is some other preparation required. Now, this is going to vary from person to person, but we're going to start with the basic one: hygiene. You don't need to be surgically clean, right? You don't need to fast for 48 hours and go get a bleaching and all of that sort of stuff before exploring anal sex at all, anal play of any kind. For most people, a regular bowel movement followed by a nice hot shower is going to do it. That's it. You don't really need any more than that. But douching is an optional step that you can take. Now, what douching is, if you can imagine a ball of water with a straw in it and you squeeze the ball, it squirts the water and it cleans you from the inside out. And for some people, that extra step in the preparation helps you feel more relaxed because obviously you're not worried about the obvious thing, poop, because you've douched. So you've cleaned yourself from the inside out. It can help you relax, but don't do it all the time. There is a mucous membrane inside your anus. If you're doing it every day or before every interaction, the water can actually flush away that membrane and it can lead to irritation or even infection in some cases. So if you are going to douche, there's a couple of rules. Number one, water only. Please don't put anything weird in your douche. No soap, no moisturizer, nothing like that. Warm water, that is all you need. Right, next prep step, nails. Now this should apply pretty much in any sexual interaction, but it's particularly important when it comes to anal. Like I said, the anus is extremely sensitive. You want smooth edges. Trim your nails, please. Whether it's solo or with a partner, trim nails. And then you've got the mental prep. So we touched on this already, but acknowledging that this isn't going to be an experience that you can rush. Anal play is not for quickies. If you've got 10 minutes before you're going to head out somewhere and you think to yourself, we can sneak a quickie in here. Quickie, good. Quickie involving anal, bad idea. This is something you need to dedicate time to. And then the last step of preparation is communication. Obviously, if you're with a partner, talk about anal before you get into the moment. Don't wait until you're halfway through sex to just throw it out there for the first time. Talk about it beforehand and agree with your partner that you can stop at any point if it becomes uncomfortable. So I mentioned relaxation being not optional, right? Relaxation compulsory for anal play. The other thing that's compulsory is lube. Now, I said that the anus does have a mucous membrane, obviously, because stuff needs to come out of it, but it's not sufficient for stuff to go into it. You need the lube. It's a mental layer as well. Having as much lube as you can get your hands on is going to make you feel more relaxed. It's also going to make it more comfortable and it's going to make it a lot safer as well. Now, when it comes to the type of lube to use, you've basically got two options. Water-based, self-explanatory. Water-based lubricant is made from purified water. The plus side to water-based lubrication is that it's generally non-irritant. You can get medical grade lubricants with no additives, no preservatives, all that sort of thing. Very compatible with your body. It's also compatible with all toy types. No matter the material, water-based lube is not going to cause any issues whatsoever. The downside to water-based lubricant is osmosis. And I'm throwing sciencey words at you today, but osmosis is the process by which your body drinks water through your skin. Water-based lubricant is made out of purified water. When it comes into contact with your skin will drink it. That's why if you've ever used a cheap water-based lube before, you'll notice over time it starts to get that tacky, sticky feeling. That's because the water's gone and whatever other ingredients they've put in is all that's left, which is why it feels like that. Now, the alternative to water-based lubricant is silicone lubricant. As the name might suggest, silicone-based lubricants are made out of silicon. Your body cannot absorb silicon, so it stays where you put it. And you have to keep that in mind when you use it. You need to actually wash silicone lubricant off, or it's not going anywhere. Now, that means that a silicone lubricant is going to last a lot longer, which is great for anal because it means that you can take that extra time. The downside to silicone lubricants is that you can't use them with silicone toys. So what happens, more science, the silicone molecules in the lube will actually bond to the silicone molecules in the toy. When they bond together, it's like melting. You will get a very sort of rough, tacky, sticky feeling on the toy. It's not something you want inside your body at all. Melting silicone, does it sound like it's going to be pleasant? No, because it's not. So silicone-based lube, fantastic. As long as the toys you're using, if you're using toys, are made out of glass or metal. TPE, silicone-based toys, no silicone lube. Next step to a successful exploration into anal play, in addition to going slowly, start small. The ideal place to start exploring anal is literally with the tip of your finger. Rub circles around, maybe slowly insert, but the tip of your finger, that's it, nothing else. Start small. The slower you go, the more your body will actually relax. From there, you can move into gradual insertion. So whether it's your finger or someone else's finger, or a small toy, maybe a small plug, something like that. But the emphasis is on the word gradual, little bits at a time, right? You have to let your body adjust before you increase the size or speed of whatever you're using. This is normally where the horror stories come from, is somebody pulls out a toy that's too big, or somebody pulls out a penis and there's no lube, there's no prep, there's no nothing. There is butt sex happening in an instant, and that's not how this process works. So your body will gradually accept. It's not going to happen straight away. When you're first starting out, like we said, it's a different type of stimulation. It's based on pressure. You don't actually need to thrust. In fact, it's better not to. Gradual insertion and then stillness is the best way to relax this particular group of muscles. Now, when it comes to toys, the sex shop is packed with options to enhance your exploration. The most common thing you're going to see is butt plugs. Now, for those of you watching the YouTube video, you're in for a treat because I have a visual aid for you. If you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you're going to have to use your imagination. But the selection criteria for anal toys is the same as it is for everything else. Material, size, shape, and function. The most basic toy, the butt plug, comes in generally 2 different variations. This is the first one. I'm going to call it the traditional shape for a butt plug. You have seen this 1,000 times. It's instantly recognizable. And for those of you who cannot see it, it is flared at the base, bulbous at the bottom, and then pointed at the tip. A lot of people, especially beginners, will go straight for this, and they'll go for a small size like this one that I'm holding now. The problem with this type of butt plug is that it's quite pointy at the top, and then it gets to its maximum width almost straight away. And then the stem, which is the part that sits inside the actual anus, goes straight back down to a different size. So not only is this sharp to insert, but it's very blunt to retrieve. So when I say traditional, what I actually mean is old school design and shit. This type of butt plug, I've never recommended it to anyone ever. Don't do it. This is the type of butt plug that you want. Now, you'll notice straight away it's a different material, right? This one is silicone, but it's not porous at all. So not being porous, as in the texture is very, very smooth. You can use this with a hybrid lubricant, so part silicone, part water, which is great because you get the benefits of both. But it's got a much more gradual shape to it. So for those of you listening, not watching, this one maintains a much more consistent width from the top all the way to the base. So there's no sudden change in diameter from top to bottom. You've still got that flared base, which is essential for any anal toy. You don't want it to disappear. And if you don't think it will, you're wrong. Things will disappear. So something like this with a much more gradual sort of curve, perfect. This type of butt plug usually also comes in something called a trainer kit. So it usually will have 3 or more sizes that you can gradually work up to. Brilliant. If you're going to buy a butt plug, especially if it's going to be your first butt plug, go for something like that. So that's shape. Material, like I said, you can go silicone if you want to use a hybrid lubricant. You can go silicone if you're going to use water-based. If you're determined to use silicone lubricant, metal or glass. Now there are a lot of benefits to metal and glass plugs as well, namely that they actually reach body temperature a lot faster. So your body won't get a shock unless you want to. You can put a glass or metal toy in the fridge. You can run it under hot water to warm it up. It gives you the options. The next most common shape you're going to see in anal toys is beads. Beads, like it sounds like, are not always perfectly round. Sometimes they are sort of oval, more gradually curved shapes. Sometimes they go from small to large. They should always have some sort of handle to retrieve them. The thing to keep in mind about butt plugs and beads, but especially beads, these are not designed as thrusting toys. These are pressure toys. You insert them and then you leave them there until you're ready to take them out. Now, the main difference between how you use a butt plug versus how you use anal beads is that anal beads are the most stimulating while they're being removed. So an anal bead is inserted, left for a time, and then slowly retrieved. That's how you use them. But do not thrust, please. The next most common shape you're going to find is the prostate massager. Now I'm calling it a shape because they're quite typical in shape. They usually have an exaggerated curve towards the abdomen, and then they will have, instead of a flared base, they will have a flat base that extends forward that's designed to stimulate the perineum. And like I said in the Toys 101 episode, there are no rules. There are few rules when it comes to sex toys. You do not have to possess a prostate to enjoy a prostate massager. That's why I'm calling it a shape. It is a unique shape. And if you're a female who enjoys that shape, then use it. Ignore the marketing on the box. So that's size, that's shape, that's material. The last one is function. And there are a myriad of functions you can get. Obviously, you've got your solid toys with no function. You can also get butt plugs that do a come hither motion. You can get anal toys that rotate. You can get anal toys that thrust. Which one is better? There is no correct answer to that question. Experiment. Try out different functions. See what you enjoy. But I'm going to say it again because it's that important. Use lube. Not optional, not negotiable. No matter what style of toy you're going to try out, use lube. Now, the next thing to remember when it comes to anal stimulation is nothing should result in a sharp pain. You might feel pressure. You might feel the sensation of stretching or resisting. This means you need to slow down. If you feel something that is like a sharp pain, like someone just poked you in the ribs, you need to stop. Like I said before, the anus is very sensitive. It's also in very close proximity to a lot of things that you don't really want to mess with inside your body. So discomfort, normal. Pressure, normal. That sort of feeling of fullness or stretching or resistance, normal. Means you need to relax into it. As soon as you feel a sharp pain, you must stop. Which brings me to the most common mistakes people make when they go into this anal exploration for the first time, or even veterans make some of these mistakes. The first one, like I said, rushing. You cannot rush anal experiences. This is something that you have to ease into gradually. You can't rush. The next one is not using enough lube. There is no such thing as too much lube. If you think you're using enough, use more. The worst that's going to happen is you have to wipe it up. No problem. The next one is skipping relaxation. Like we said before, this is a non-negotiable step. You must be relaxed to enjoy anal anything. Going too big too soon is the next one. Like I said, those training kits that you can get for plugs are great because you can work your way up gradually. You need to start small. Allow everything to adjust and then you can move up. But the number one mistake that people make when they start exploring anal is treating it like a performance or even an obligation. If you're exploring anal because your partner wants you to, or your partner has told you to, or something like that, you're not going to enjoy it. It has to be something that you are prepared for mentally, which brings it right back to what I say about everything, right? Anal is just like any other sexual experience. The focus needs to be on exploration instead of expectations. Curiosity needs to be what leads you there, not pressure to perform. So if you are that person that's not on one side of the room or the other and you're sitting on the fence, I hope this has made you more curious. I hope that this is something that makes anal sound less intimidating and like something you can give it a go. As always, if you've got any questions, nothing's off limits. Jump into my DMs, send them through. We'll keep the conversation going. I'll see you next time.